Welcome back to a brand new episode of the Bold American Podcast presented by Barstool Sports. Lot to get to. It seems like, man, every week is just a lot going on. Everything is still going on in Iran, and we'll talk about the latest there. There was a No Kings protest all across the country on Saturday. Last week we saw ROTC cadets get decorated with some Army awards. Artemis II is happening this week, and some of you are probably thinking, what the heck is Artemis II? Because nobody is talking about it, which is wild. We will. Celebrities were popping off the last few days all over social media and getting people in a tizzy, sometimes in a good way, sometimes in a bad way, but we're going to chat about that. And then also we got a little inside Barstool chat about my pal, Rico Bosco, who captivated audiences this past weekend for the NCAA tournament, and we'll get into why that is relevant to me and to the Bold American Podcast. And all of that is going to be brought to you by our pals at Blue Chew. Guys, if your lady or your fella or that person that sends you an eggplant emoji at 2 a.m. is ready for better sex, then you should be too. That's where Blue Chew comes in. They have been on a mission for years to get you bricked up, build your confidence, and help you actually perform in the bedroom. Their new arousal-boosting formula, Blue Chew Gold, is helping millions of men have better sex in 2026. While most ED meds only focus on blood flow, Blue Chew Gold goes further by combining 2 ingredients for blood flow with 2 ingredients for mental arousal and connection. So you're not just physically ready, you are actually in the mood. This type of innovation is why Blue Chew Gold is the #1 brand in erectile function. Don't let your mind get in the way of a good time. Level up with Blue Chew Gold. Don't let your mind get in the way of a good time. Discover your options at BlueChew.com. All right, we got a special deal for our listeners. Right now, when you buy 2 months of Blue Chew Gold, you get the third for free with promo code BOLD. That's promo code BOLD. Visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information. And thank you to Blue Chew for sponsoring the show. Let's get to it. Last 72, Rob, we're going to start with you because it's just me and you tonight, buddy. Ryan is out gallivanting, doing very cool Ryan things, whatever it is she does. No, she's actually at a pretty cool event that she can tell us about next week, and we're happy for her. But she is not joining us today. But I'm happy to have my guy, Rob. Rob, how's it going last 72?
What's up, gang? Yeah, Ryan gets the invites to all the dope stuff. We don't really get those invites right now. Man, it's like fatherhood with 2 little ones. It just kind of flies by on the weekends. But I was able to watch the USA men's soccer game, a friendly against Belgium. Now, for everyone's awareness, we're just over 2 months away from the World Cup on home soil.
Yeah, it's sneaking up.
We don't want to embarrass ourselves. However, Connor,
how do we look?
We did not look good, and we had most of our starters out there, and as a soccer guy, I'm a little nervous about what's going to happen in a couple months here. We look slow. There's no grit, like teams 10, 20 years ago with Tim Howard, Landon Donovan, Clint Dempsey, those guys. Even back in the 90s, Connor, we didn't have the greatest talent, right? But there was always this grittiness to U.S. soccer. You knew that our guys were going to just give it their all.
Was there ever grittiness? Has there ever been? Sorry, I don't mean to speak ill of our soccer team, but has there ever been a gritty attitude?
Yeah, in the sense of attack, and just throw your bodies out there and just push for the ball, just fight for the ball, push players, fight for penalties, fight inside the box, kind of like a dominating presence. We don't have any of that, bro. It's like, I don't know what it is. And if you look back 20 years ago, men's soccer, the U.S. men's national team, we even made it in 2002 into the quarterfinals of the World Cup. We didn't have a lot of talent on the team. We went far. We lost to Germany. And now if you look at it, Cons, we throw so much money. We have so many academies. We have such a big focus on youth sports in America.
It's like, how are we not translating that into a very good team?
That's what I'm saying. And that's what I'm a little anxious about come this summer when we host the World Cup along with Canada and Mexico. But, we've been playing competitive soccer internationally now for 40, 50 years. And you think we would be in the top 10. we don't look that. We look amateurish. We look slow. And so I'm hoping that the coach and the players can kind of just get through this funk. And then, come mid-June, we're looking good on Fox Sports and we're putting on a good show for our country. But, dude, is
it typical to get things together in a matter of 2 months when it comes to soccer?
You can. And I think some of these guys, a lot of it too, man, some of these young American players playing over in Europe, they're making so much fucking money. And it's like, I just feel like maybe there's just not this like attitude to play for country like maybe 10, 20, 30 years ago. And they're you can see that some of the players are really, really into it and proud to be out there, but some other players, it just looks like they're just like, it's just another day in the office. Yeah. And so anyways, so that was kind of like a highlight, low light of my weekend. I saw some other listeners were commenting about it too on Twitter. So hopefully we turn it around. Yeah.
Yeah, seriously, especially we're hosting.
Yeah.
We want to put forth a good showing.
Yeah. MetLife.
Who are the overall favorites?
I mean, France, Spain, Argentina, Brazil, the core four, Germany, my German men up there too. But I would say as a Vegas guy, France or Spain will probably win it, but we should be able to get far in the tournament. We have the talent.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing that never makes sense to me is how much talent is in this country. And I get it goes beyond just talent, but, and this is my naivete showing itself. And I've watched enough World Cups to know that, France is always there and making some noise. In my head, France doesn't scream good athletes. I don't know why, but it doesn't scream good athletes. Like maybe a good tennis player, you could be good at tennis, but France, for whatever reason, just doesn't compute for me when it comes to athletes.
That's fair.
Like,
that's fair.
Brazil makes sense. Germany makes sense. Italy makes a lot of sense. I hear France, and I don't connect that with good soccer. And again, I don't know anything about soccer.
That's why they surprise you. And here's one more just soccer fact. The men's national jerseys just dropped last week or so, and
I didn't like them.
I'm not a fan either. Who did a really cool away jersey? The French. The French.
Stop with the French, dude.
No, listen. It's a tribute to the Statue of Liberty.
Oh, okay.
Dude, you would actually like it. It's the Statue of Liberty blue-green.
Oh, I'm looking at it now. That does look kind of clean.
That's their away kit. That's their.
Wow.
How cool is that? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, anyways, enough soccer.
I like that.
Connor blows his brains out. So we'll see, man. Like we're 2 months away from the World Cup. I just, it's again, we're putting on the show. I just want our guys to play their hearts out. So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, just one of these years, I would love for us to go to the final, maybe even win the whole thing.
Yeah, or just play competitively, right? Just like, so if you're in a bar and you're watching, you can be like, you know what, our guys actually tried,
Yeah,
like
right.
That. So
yeah, exactly. That's it. Well, so that's the thing. You just don't want to get blown out, right? We want it to be competitive and enjoyable to watch. Because truthfully, I'm not going to watch any games that the U.S. is not playing in. I'll catch highlights. I'll see the scores, but I'm not going to sit and watch a game unless it's the U.S. So the only way to get me to watch the World Cup, because I know that's their main goal, is to get me to watch it. But I got to see the U.S. and see us playing better. So hopefully we do all right and get our act together in the next 2 months. My weekend was great. On Saturday, was it? What did I do Friday, man? I can't even, honestly, it's Monday. I can't tell you what I did Friday. I'd have to seriously think about this for a while and figure out. Oh, yes. No, sorry. And this isn't an indictment on her. It didn't matter what I did Friday. It just took me a minute to remember. My wife and I went out to dinner, which was nice. It's always nice. We were supposed to go with another couple. This new spot. It's Oyster Bar in a neighboring town. And it was a nice time. We always enjoy going out to dinner because she's a big foodie and I'll eat anything. So we go all over New Jersey and New York exploring good restaurants. So that's fun. But then Saturday I had some dads from my kids' school came over and we were watching the game outside, fire pit, outdoor TV. A couple of other friends, neighbors stopped by. So it was a good little hang session. And then yesterday We went to a barbecue at a newer friend's house. They're friends of our close friends, and they've kind of become friends in their town there. And really, really nice family that hosted us over at their house. Alex and I really like the parents. You know, they have kids, and there was a bunch of families over, a bunch of kids running around. And at one point, I'm outside pushing Maggie on the swing, and this kid comes up to me. I'm guessing he's somewhere between 7 and 9 years old, right? He's a young kid, and he looks at me and he goes, "How's it going, Mr. Poopy Head?" And I was like, "Wait, what? What? Who are you?" I don't know who the kid is, right? I'm a stranger to him. He calls me Mr. Poopy Head, and it kind of stopped me in my tracks because what do you do, right? What do you do when you're an adult and an 8-year-old calls you Mr. Poopy Head? And I kind of laughed it off, and then the more I think about it, I'm like thinking to myself, when I was that age, 8, 9, 10, 11 years old, whatever, first of all, I didn't make it a point to walk up to adults and talk to them out of the clear blue sky. If I was with my parents, or even not with my parents, but if I was in the presence of an adult and they were speaking to me, I had no problem speaking to adults. I wasn't afraid. But there was nothing inside of me that said, "Oh, I'm going to walk up to this adult at this barbecue and call him Mr. Poopy Head." So it didn't compute, and it stopped me in my tracks. I didn't know what to do. What would you do if a 9-year-old that you didn't know called you Mr. Poopy Head?
Yeah, 9. I don't know. Throw water on him. Just kidding. It's
Maybe.
kind of, maybe, if I got my canteen with me, but I'd probably be like, "Excuse me, that's not polite," and then maybe just like go to the parents or something. I don't know. I haven't been called Mr. Poopy Head in years, so I mean, it might happen soon though. Being at the park and stuff.
Yeah. It's just, I don't know. I heard someone else. Yeah. No, I heard somebody else talking about how, like, maybe it was a comedian, and it was just like, kids are not afraid of adults enough
As much
anymore, right?
Yeah,
And
I can see that.
And it just kind of, threw me for a loop. And I was, because, like, I'm not going to yell at the kid, right? Mm-hmm. But I think I said something to the effect of what you said, like, "Hey, that's not very polite," or that's not very nice. I don't remember specifically, but I don't know. It just was weird to me.
Yeah.
And I guess I'll leave it at that.
Do you know who the parents are?
Yeah, I mean, they were there. But because it's a newer situation, I don't know who that kid's parents specifically were. So that's another thing. Do you walk up and tell the parents, like, "Hey, by the way, your kid called me Mr. Poopy Head"?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. It's a strange one. Just kind of like walk away, keep smiling.
Yeah. And I guess I'm also thinking about, what would my father have said to me if at 9 years old I called an adult man Mr. Poopy Head? It would not have gone over well, because just the way I was raised, by the time I was in like 4th, 5th grade, I'm not saying I was having full-blown conversations with adults, but my father insisted that if we saw somebody's dad, it was, "Hello, Mr. So-and-so," firm handshake, and that was that. And there was no question about it. And there was always a level of respect. So just a weird thing that
looking in the eyes, holding eye contact, smiling. Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know how I should have handled that any differently, or how I might handle that going forward. But
maybe if you see the child again, you should just be like, "Hello, Mr. Poopy Head." You should say
that. Right. But then it's like, well, then maybe am I encouraging that behavior?
Yeah. Yeah, so. We'll find out.
Anyway, Iran. So that's good.
Iran.
Good. Yeah, Iran. Good segue, right?
There's some poopy heads over there. There's some poopy heads.
Yeah. Dude, so you know what's interesting is that this thing is just so fast moving, and we've said that because our guy WTC, he does a great job researching, sending us topics. He sent us stuff yesterday, and then it feels like throughout the day, just more stuff is happening, and everything's outdated in the matter of hours.
That's what so we texted last night, in prep for the show. We always text like Sunday or Monday morning. I was like, should we even like bring up Iran on today's episode? And then I was like, you know what? There's probably going to be some crazy shit that happens when we wake up. And it's just like, you can't even, that's the vibe now with every conflict though, where like any kind of, it's like every wake up in the last year or two, Connor, is like, okay, well, I guess we'll just pivot on from that, or like, all right, let's just roll with this. So that's kind of like the vibe of our show too, right? It's just like, all right, let's just feel it out.
Yeah. So I mean, the big news is all the troop movement in the region. There's been 2 additional Marine Expeditionary Units designed for rapid response that are moving to the Middle East, and then we are deploying soldiers from the 82nd. I saw word today that we are deploying some Tier 1 operators. I know of Tier 1 operators that are already there and have been there. So it's just incredibly fluid. It's stated that Karg Island, am I pronouncing that correctly? That's the speculated target of the 82nd Airborne, but nothing's been confirmed or made public. Again, that's an industrial importance, makes it a very strategic target. 90% of the crude oil leaves Iran from there, so it's 1 million barrels a day. So that's massive. So in addition to that oil infrastructure, there's a large airfield. So we might attack that with the 82nd, try to secure that. And it's really small. It's about half the size of DC, Karg Island. So it's, in theory, not to oversimplify it, but obviously if it's a smaller area, they should be able to take it much easier. So, and then we got the Strait of Hormuz still. It's calling for all of our allies to join a naval coalition that will secure the strait. And as we know, most major shipping companies have suspended any routes through the strait right now due to the ongoing risk. I saw today that I think it was Kuwait, definitely Kuwait, maybe one other country, are backing a invasion there with our ground troops. So just a lot going on, and as we know, the fuel costs are still being affected. Average cost for a gallon of gas is up to $3.98, almost at basically $4, which, a month ago it felt bearable, and now it just seems again like, wait, what the heck are we doing? So have I missed anything? What's going on with Iran? And more it's feeling like this thing is not going to be over soon.
Yeah, no, you did a great summary there. I think another important piece, and this just came out like an hour ago, is that President Trump gave them a week, extended the deadline to a week for them to completely open up the strait and hand over any uranium and start, working for a deal. So there's another week. So by, I think, April 6th, we should kind of have a close. So by the time we record in a week from now, we should have a better idea and understanding as to what's going on with the uranium that the Iranians had, what's going on with a potential peace deal, and who's actually in fucking charge. Who are we talking to?
Yeah.
Is it the former Ayatollah's son? Is it someone else? Is it a new person? Is it the IRGC? And then we're also going to get a view into how, to your point about Kuwait, what are the other Gulf states doing? So what's interesting to note is that Saudi, Kuwait, UAE, Qatar, they all don't like Iran. They really don't.
No, we're not the only ones.
Yeah, exactly. But it helps them in the long term, Connor, if Iran is kind of a mess, because it means most of their oil will be bought.
Yeah.
If Iran starts to flourish and really take off in a couple of years and their oil gets exported more, that kind of steps into their business a little bit. So it's in the short term, they want some destability and they want Iran to kind of continue on this, but it's like it's really nuanced what the Arabian states like and what they don't like long term and short term with the situation. But again, we have troops all over there, as you know. And yeah, Karg Island, it's very important. It would be very interesting to see the 82nd go do like an airport takeover, and then the Marines are just stuck on a boat watching, right? Like not getting not getting any action. So yeah, I think in a week, by the time we record next week, we'll have a little bit more clarity.
I mean, certainly we'll have at least something to report on. I don't know what, but we'll have something to report on. Just very, very fluid situation, and the hardest part is, people saying, "Well, we're not getting clear reporting." Well, that's to be expected. I don't know that we've ever gotten super clear reporting, because I almost think back in the day there weren't reports put out until it went through multiple levels of checks and balances and fact checking to an extent. And now it's, you got a Twitter account, you could put something out there, and if it gets enough traction, then that's the news. So it's crazy because then you're seeing all these conflicting reports that, okay, Iran still won't come to the negotiating table. You saw last week that we put forth our list of demands, they put forth their list of responses and demands. We're not jiving. So, but it's hard to determine who's putting out accurate information. So it's super unsettling, I guess, is my final point there, is that until maybe we start seeing things firsthand, I won't fully believe them. And I just hope we can get as accurate reporting as possible, and people aren't jaded because they want Trump to look bad or they want Trump to succeed, right? Mm-hmm. How often do you see people tell stories with a jaded storyline because they're trying to protect somebody? Mm-hmm. So we'll see. I'm not really sure where to go from here other than to just sit tight and wait for more things to happen.
Yeah, I think in a week we'll know more.
Yeah. So speaking of Trump, though, this past weekend, there were 3,000 No Kings protests across the country. In 3,300 different locations, 12 additional countries outside the U.S., approximately 8 million people protested against the Trump administration. The issues that they covered were immigration enforcement, ICE agents, and, as we were just talking about, the conflict with Iran. There was an event in Minnesota that had 200,000 attendees, including Senator Bernie Sanders and Bruce Springsteen, who sang that song you wrote, Streets of Minneapolis, Bob De Niro, and the Reverend Al Sharpton, who, by the way, I've seen multiple times at one of my favorite cigar lounges in New York City, which is just a weird thing to say out loud. But anyway, They showed up to the protests in New York, which had several groups who had all met in Central Park. My first question to you, Rob.
Yes.
Quickly, could you list 25 things you'd rather do than go to a No Kings protest, or any protest for that matter, on a Saturday afternoon?
Yeah, bro. I mean, I feel like these always sneak up on us. Like every year they happen. It's like I find out the night before because some Bernie Sanders post went viral on Twitter, or like someone made a fuss, or maybe even Trump's clowning them. But it's always like I don't know. Like I'm never seeing like the promotion for these, and I guess Robert De Niro went too, which is just like, man, he's one of my favorite actors, and I hate when guys just get so cranky towards the end. You know what I mean? It's just like so sad. But you know what? Hey, it's your right. Go protest, have some fucking fun, knock yourself out. I think it'd be kind of fun maybe next year if we go and we just kind of document some of it. Like we just like interview some people, or me and WTC go. But I mean,
I guess my point though with the question is,
what would I rather do?
Well, this is very cynical of me. I never saw the point of protests like this. Mm-hmm. So these 8 million people, they went and they chanted and they said all the things they don't like about what's going on. Then what happened?
Then what?
Did nothing change?
Yeah.
Right? Like
It's all performative.
In my lifetime, I'm pretty sure the only time I saw a protest that got the desired result, and I'm really dating myself here, was when there was a walkout at West Beverly High School to make sure that Donna Martin graduated. And you may or may not get that reference. And I don't know who's going to get that reference, actually, but it's a good reference. Anyway, I never saw the point of protests like this. And, someone might combat that and say, well, if you're not standing up for it, what you believe in, then you're just going to allow anything to happen. And obviously, as you said, it is your First Amendment right, and I fully support that. I just think now, as a parent, I have so much that I would rather do and spend time with my family than go sit in a park and chant stuff for 2 hours.
And it's on both sides too, right? On both sides.
Yes. No. And this isn't like, I think the No Kings protests are stupid. I think the No Kings protests are stupid, and any other protests too. I don't care which side of the aisle it's against or for. I just think protests in general are largely...
I can get behind a protest to protect the Army-Navy game, though. Like, sign me up for that, bro. I might get behind that. I might throw my name in that one. But no, for real, like, you nailed it. Like, I think I'd rather listen to my daughter cry for a couple hours than hang out with everybody at the No Kings in Manhattan in a nasty March day. You got a million different events going on. You could sit in a pub and have a nice pint. You could reach out to your friends, your classmates, call your parents, and that might actually do better for your mentals. But I wonder if you were to poll the people at the No Kings protest, how many of those people would be, single, unhappy, living in apartments, and what's the career profile here? Like, what are...
Yeah, what's the type of person?
What's the personality? What's the persona? Like, who are these people? So,
because that's a good point. I don't even think like I've really ever known people who go to protests either. Not only do I think they're silly, like I don't even know people, and I know people on both sides of the aisle now.
Yeah, same.
And no one has ever been like, "Oh no, I can't make it to your barbecue today, dude. I got to go to a protest."
I have to go to the No Kings protest. The best part too, Connor, was like I have a ton of European friends, right? Like I had some very, very, very liberal friends in Europe, and some of them live in Amsterdam. Guess what? Holland has a king. Guess what? Sweden has a queen or king. They're a kingdom. And some of my liberal friends were protesting and performative, posting on social media about their attendance at the protests, and like same thing in London. They have a fucking king. Like, it's just like, what are we doing?
Yeah. So I mean, and I get it. Maybe these people feel like they're doing their part, and if that's the case, if you feel like you're making a difference, I'm not going to rain on your parade. I'm just saying, for me personally, I cannot think of anything that would cause me to say I'm going to go stand in a street or a park and scream for 2 hours, 3 hours. I just don't see, and that's the thing. I think protests can come in other forms too, right? I can garner support and get signatures for something and then go present something to a lawmaker and say, hey, I have all this support. That's a form of protest too, right? Yeah. Or there's a shop here in the town that I live in that won't hire minorities. So I go around and I knock on doors and I say, hey, don't go to XYZ Donuts because they don't hire minorities. And then as a result of me canvassing my neighborhood, nobody goes there. That's a form of protest that I see as productive. Standing in the street or a park for hours screaming, not productive.
You know what? I will say that's a very good point. I will say, and this is something about American society, the liberal community, the left-wing population of America, they fucking rally for their causes. You cannot say the same thing about the right wing like this. Sure, MAGA has its like rallies and stuff, but this is different. This is like 200,000 people on a Saturday in Minneapolis. That you have to give props to that political wing and faction because they are able to mobilize, show up, get funding. So from like almost like a business standpoint and as a marketing guy, like that's incredible. Like that's almost like, I don't agree with any of it really, but like I have to respect it because the Democrats,
but to your point with that, dude, then it's like, okay, with all that momentum and all that backing, do something else. Get those 8 million people to all do something else.
Yeah.
That you can then tie a tangible outcome to.
Yeah.
And then that's very impressive.
Yeah, no, you're right. Then like how do you impact change versus just like listening to Bruce Springsteen?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It's like, how do you impact change versus complaining?
Yeah.
So I think there's a big difference there in terms of what a protest can and should be. So won't catch me at any No Kings protests or any protests for that matter in the near future that I'm aware of.
Yeah, that's fair.
All right. Some good news amidst a tragedy. So we had the shooting at Old Dominion University on March 12th where Lieutenant Colonel Brandon Shaw was shot and killed. And there were 8 ROTC students who physically intervened, killed the shooter, preventing any additional casualties. So those cadets received the Meritorious Service Medal, and 2 cadets were shot. They received Purple Hearts, because I think what people forget when you're doing ROTC or if you're at one of the military academies, you are actually in the military.
Yeah.
And it's not just school and training and practice. It's legitimately you are in the military. It's the start of your career. But then what was really cool, I thought, was that Sergeant Major of the Army, Sergeant Major Weimer, and the Secretary of the Army, Secretary Dan Driscoll, they were the ones who presented the awards in a private ceremony. So I just thought that was really cool. You know, unbelievable bravery by these 8 cadets to intervene. One of those situations where everyone likes to think they would do one thing, but then you find yourself in this situation and you find out what you would really do. And these 8 ROTC cadets answered the call and stood up, and who knows how many lives they saved by their heroic actions. So just credit to them, and I was really impressed also with the secretary and sergeant major showing up to present the awards.
No, yeah, you said that well. It's just such a bummer that Lieutenant Colonel Shaw had to die like that. I think he deployed a couple times. He was an Apache pilot. Some West Point friends of mine knew him personally, and they couldn't say anything bad about the guy. They said how awesome he was. He played pickleball with them, and he was just a good hang. So, thoughts to his family and his friends, and shout out to these ROTC cadets. I think they killed the shooter through, I think, some hand-to-hand combat and using a sharp blade. So they put whatever they had to use. And then also, shout out to Secretary Dan Driscoll and SMA Weimer. I mean, Weimer's, I don't know if you saw his sleeve, but he must have had like 20 notches.
Yeah.
Like it's incredible to see that,
Tremendous service. And what's interesting too for these ROTC cadets, and I've talked about this over the years, but one of the hardest things to earn as a fresh lieutenant, be it second lieutenant, first lieutenant, whenever it is that you show up your platoon, but one of the hardest things to earn is respect from your NCOs and soldiers. You walk in the door day one, they'll respect your rank, and they will treat you appropriately for your rank. But to truly respect your lieutenant, that has to be earned, I think. And the only way to earn that is through your actions. But with something like this, you're walking in the door, and word will get around once these cadets get out into the Army. Oh, that was one of those Old Dominion cadets. And that will help them. That will give them a notch up on their peers as it comes to earning respect once you get out to the big Army. So it'll certainly help them moving forward, and just really impressive and proud that people like that, young people like that, and I can say that now because I'm 41, young people like that still exist. Because I think there's just been this narrative in this country so long now, for 10, 20 years, that we're getting soft, and the kids and the generations coming up are horrible in a lot of ways. But it's nice to know that we still got some people like that who are willing to run towards the sound of the guns and not. So good on those cadets.
Phones down, paying attention. You know what I mean? Like just the basic shit.
Yes.
Well said.
Yes. Moving on, dude. We're going back to the moon.
Yes.
We're going back to the moon. First man trip to the moon in 53 years should launch this week. The crew is aiming. There's a 6-day window. Which is the first 6 days of April, which is this week. And the ideal date being April 5th, which is Good Friday. It was actually scheduled for February initially, but a hydrogen leak delayed the launch.
Yeah.
NASA said if Artemis is not able to launch in April, the next window is the summer in May or June. And its mission is only flying the rocket and 4 astronauts around the moon, but Artemis II plans to land on the lunar surface. But we're going back to the moon. We're going to, circle that bad boy and bring those folks home. It's wild to me that this is not a bigger story. And I think that speaks to a whole litany of things and where our priorities lie as people in this country. And, certainly March Madness is going on, and that is important. But the fact that this is not, from what I can see, making bigger headlines, because people will say, well, we've already been to the moon. Okay, how many of you were even alive? 53 years ago is a long-ass time. Most of us weren't around for that. And I always found one of the cooler things to ask your parents and your grandparents was, to me, what was it like when this happened? Tell me like what you remember from when this happened. And what was it like watching that night when the entirety of America was huddled around their televisions watching Neil Armstrong step foot on the moon? What a cool experience that is. And now we're going back, and again, we're just going around the moon. But it's still pretty cool, right?
I 100% agree with you. I think this is so fucking cool. And I think it's going to set up a whole new wave of space adventure, exploration, lunar, interest.
Yeah.
And then to your point, correct. Artemis II, developed, produced by Lockheed Martin. Shout out, no free shout out. But, they're just going to fly around the moon. But the goal here is in 2 years to establish a permanent NASA base up there on the moon, on the surface of the moon. So how cool is that?
That's pretty cool. That is very cool.
Very, very, very cool. So for mixed use, supply, energy, bunch of different reasons, but we're going to the moon, baby. I think it's awesome. I to your point, I wish it made a bigger splash in the news, but let's hope that the crew has a safe departure on Wednesday. And Godspeed to those men and women going up.
Yeah, there's something about going on Good Friday. I feel like that's good juju.
Yeah.
So, even though, geez, now that I think about it, it's like, that's when Jesus died. So maybe it's not good juju. I don't know. I don't know.
Let's look at the positive. Let's look at the positive.
Yeah, let's focus that it's going to go according to plan. Yeah. And Godspeed, as you said, to those brave astronauts. Very cool. Somebody else that could use some prayers, I guess maybe well wishes for getting some help. Tiger Woods. Oh, yeah. Tiger Woods, as we all know at this point, he was in another car crash, which, dude, knock on wood, some people go their whole life and they're never in a car accident, right? And then some people are in a real serious car accident in some part of their life. There's not many people that serious car accidents. This guy, Tiger Woods, has been in multiple serious car accidents, and the most recent being he was driving his Range Rover around Jupiter Island, which is nothing just but wealthy individuals. I've never been to Jupiter. My guess is there's a lot of golf carts riding around. The speed limit's probably posted 20 or 25.
Yeah.
So he speeds up, tries to pass a truck that was pulling a trailer, but he rolled onto the driver's side of the vehicle. He rolled his vehicle onto the driver's side because he clipped the vehicle in front of him. Mm-hmm. And he gets arrested and gets charged with DUI. The big part of the story is that he blew zeros on the breathalyzer, so clearly wasn't drinking alcohol. But as has been reported, he has had some struggles with some, other things, and I'm not going to speculate and say what he may or may not have been on, but it's entirely possible he was incredibly intoxicated, because I'm just thinking about, I've never flipped a car. I have to imagine it's a pretty ridiculous thing to do. You have to be going a really high rate of speed and do something really reckless to get a vehicle. Because cars these days, man, they're built so well. They're built to not flip over.
Yeah.
So the fact that he was able to put the car on its side tells me that's some erratic behavior.
Did he get hit or did he...
He clipped. It was almost like it was like the car in front of him was pulling a trailer. So I'd imagine, I've watched enough Fast and the Furious movies to know, like, if you are going fast enough and you clip something on the side, that would be enough to knock you to the side the way it did. But you got to be going really, really fast. Like, if you're doing 20, 25, you're not flipping over.
No,
you probably need to be going 40 mile an hour plus for that to occur. So it's obviously it's incredibly sad, and I think that's the part that needs to be focused on, is that take Tiger Woods, the golfer, out of this. Mm-hmm. He's obviously dealing with a lot, and then on top of that, you get the reports, and this was apparently came out well before any of this accident happened, but President Trump had instructed his Secret Service to not let his grandchildren drive in a car with Tiger Woods, which, again, given his history, fair. And then following this, his current girlfriend, who is it Vanessa Trump?
Yes.
She was apparently giving him the what for behind closed doors. Again, understandably so. Mm-hmm. So it's just really, really tough. And as a parent now, I think about, because I live on a 25 mile an hour street. Mm-hmm. If somebody was going fast enough to flip their car, and I see kids every day walking to and from school because my street's on a route to the high school. Can you imagine if he had injured somebody? Like, thank God nobody was injured, but that is just reckless behavior to be driving like that at 2:00 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Just,
it's so sad, because everyone, even if you don't like him personally, you love what he's done on the course, right? And so, like, we all grew up with him. We know the Tiger Woods story. We know his family history. We know what it was like to be Tiger as a young child.
Right.
It's someone we've grown up with, and time and time again. I mean, since 20, 30 years ago now, like, there's always been an issue or something, and if it's not substance abuse, it's something else. It's another form of addiction. It's just like there's always something, and you just want to. I think you tweeted it, man. You're just like, just step away from the game of golf for a little bit, or maybe forever, and focus on it, because when you have that much money and you're so successful, like, why are you still, like, I know you love the game, but just focus on you. You have amazing children. Your son's trying to go pro. Like, focus on that. And
that's the other hard part now. His kids aren't so little that they don't know what's going on. His kids are 18 and 17 years old. They are fully read in. It's hard enough growing up, I'd imagine, the child of someone as famous as Tiger Woods. You obviously don't have a normal childhood. You probably have to always wonder, are people being genuine because they like me, or are they trying to get to my dad?
Yeah.
And now to be 17, 18 years old and to see this all over the news, that's got to be so tough on them. Just absolutely brutal. You feel bad.
His whole family and friends too. And I always thought it was kind of strange that he did the TGL stuff or whatever. I mean, that's a whole nother conversation, Connor. And I know you're very fluent with the whole golf stuff, but I don't know. I just always felt like he was just, the last few years, he's just been trying too hard. and I don't know why. Like Sunday Red, I don't know. I just feel like some of his business ventures just didn't really make sense to me. I get it. He needs to make money. And he is a business guy.
He doesn't, though, I don't think, at this point.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're right.
I don't think he needs to make any more money. I think all the things he does at this point are because he loves doing them. Yeah. So, someone like that level of athlete, you can't just turn it off and, take your golf cart to the local coffee shop and be content and read the paper. He's got to be going.
Well, why can't he have a fucking team? Why can't he have a handler driving?
Well, and so that's what he said. He's like, he's hesitant to have people driving him because he wants his privacy.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Well, he didn't say that directly, but that's the reports are coming out that he's hesitated to have a driver because he wants to maintain a level of privacy. You can pay people to keep their mouth shut. The dude, somebody tweeted at me. The dude is obsessed with the military. He revered his father and his service in Vietnam and his service as a Green Beret. Right. Clearly, his experiences with the Navy SEALs himself are well documented. Do you know how many Tier 1 operators are retired who would sign up to be your driver and would not say a word to anyone about... Yeah. Dude, they would earmuff it so hard.
I know.
Tiger, go do whatever you want to do, dude. Whether it's above board or not. I don't know if you have other women, any other issues that you want to keep private. You could get these dudes and they would not say a word. They wouldn't tell their wives what they were seeing. Because these guys are actually trained to do that. Like, how many Tier 1 operators do you know that, like, when you talk to them, just one-on-one, not even text, in person, like, hey, dude, like, whoa, so, like, tell me, like, and they will not say a word. They keep that so tight and close to the vest. He could easily get some former Green Beret, some former SEAL, and they would be an unbelievable driver. Just get someone to help you out, man.
I know.
And listen, Dan at Barstool Big Cat, he made a great point. He's like, maybe Charles Barkley was right. It's we grow up idolizing these athletes and we feel like we know them because we see them play a sport really well and we think, oh, they're a great person. And by all accounts, people who interact or know Tiger have all said the same thing, that he's a really nice guy. He's an easy guy to hang out with. Now, I'm not going to defend his infidelity or his other issues off the course, but he has a part of him that people like. But to say that this behavior is anything that any child should want to emulate could not be it's the furthest thing from reality. So maybe he's not a good role model if you're flipping a car at 2 p.m. in broad daylight.
Yeah. So it's so sad. We'll monitor the situation, but get well, Tiger, because it's he impacts a lot of people. You know what I mean? He impacts millions of people. So it's like you hate to see that, but hopefully he can just get through it, get some help, and
people get help. People get help every day.
I had to get help last year. I'm not Tiger Woods, but everyone needs to just take a knee at some point.
Yeah. So, all right, couple. Staying with the realm of celebrities, 2 stories. Sydney Sweeney.
Yes. This
was known, but I think now it's really known. She has a brother who's in the Air Force. He's an Air Force staff sergeant. And she posted a screenshot of a FaceTime with her brother because he's currently deployed, actually. And
shout out.
Post actually sparked conversation about if her brother's deployment was a result of the conflict with Iran, so people obviously turned it into a news story from that regard. But most people were just like, oh, it's great to see that Sydney Sweeney supports our military, which is very nice because she's one of, if not the most famous female actress in the game right now. So to see her publicly supporting the military like that, it was nice. And I don't know her. I don't know her relationship with her brother, but it seems like she has a nice, sweet relationship with her brother, which is incredibly relatable. So that was just nice to see. It just seemed very normal, I think was my take.
Yeah, shout out Sydney Sweeney. I would love to take you to the Army Navy game this year. Please get back to my DM whenever you can. I would really appreciate it. But no, she's awesome. I mean, it's cool to see that genuine side. I mean, it seemed quite authentic. And how cool for her brother, you know what I mean? Just to get that extra love from her audience, hopefully. And she just seems cool, man. She's able to act too. Like she can do comedy, drama, horror, action. Like it's kind of cool.
I just watched a movie with her, The Housemaid.
How was
it? It was perfectly fine. It was perfectly enjoyable. I watched it and I left it and I thought to myself, I enjoyed that 90 minutes or 2 hours or whatever it was. It is based on a book, I think, and too often now, I think people treat movies like it either has to be the greatest thing ever and it's going to win awards, or it's absolute dog doo-doo.
Yeah, poopy head.
It's such poopy head. We grew up with so many movies that were just like down the middle.
Yeah.
And that's okay. And you like some of them.
You just want to forget for a little bit.
Just give me something that's like, I enjoyed that for 2 hours. I'll never watch it again.
Is it a thriller?
It's kind of like a thriller, a horror thriller. Just watch it. I mean, it's got her. It's got Amanda Seyfried.
Yeah.
It's got this other dude from Jersey who is handsome as all get out, whose name is escaping me. Let's see. Oh, Brandon Skellner. Dude. Woo. Yeah, he's a handsome fellow. He was also in that.
Not getting all hot.
He was in that Blake Lively movie too.
Oh yeah.
I have to imagine this guy's going to become a household name pretty soon because he's just.
Yeah, I mean, they're gonna.
He's yoked up too. He's in great shape. He's got the jaw. He's got it going for him. So.
Oh, okay. Speaking of yoked up, my question for you. I was going to ask this a few episodes ago. We were on some tangent about working out or something. Would you ever consider going on TRT or HGH? Maybe in like 10, 15 years? Would you ever consider that as you get older?
For what reason?
Longevity.
Because in my head, TRT, HGH, I'm thinking like guys are taking that to look bigger, look better without
a little bit
clothes.
Of that. Yeah.
Like, are there significant health impacts where that's going to improve my overall health?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I think I will. Yeah. When I'm like 50, early 50s. Yeah.
You know, I'll tell you one thing, and if you use this, you use it, whatever. All the GLP-1 stuff, man, you read about the side effects. Yes, it scares me. You read about the side effects, and then also we have no idea, to my knowledge, long-term effects of staying on it for an extended period of time.
Yep.
Because obviously, I feel like the majority of people now are using it as a weight loss drug.
Yeah.
And from what I understand, it basically eliminates food noise. Mm-hmm. But then once you go off of it, so many people just gain weight right back.
Yeah, and you lose your muscle when you're on it. You lose like your strength and size, and you just get skinny. And dude, you get the face. You get like the. I don't want to say it, but you get a pretty gnarly face. When I was at Amazon, 2023, a lot of the larger women that worked in big tech all hopped on it. And when I left it just a little over a year ago, the sizable difference you saw in corporate and big tech of women who hopped on it, it was so noticeable. And I think a lot of those women are starting to regret that because they're slowly putting the weight back on and they have the same look, the same kind of like disheveled. Yes. And it's just, it's tough. You have to be very, very decisive with that.
It's unbelievable though, because for forever, everybody always wants the easy button when it comes to weight loss. Myself included, you know, Who doesn't, want to get in shape for summer and think like, I wish I could just press a button and lose this weight that I'm trying to lose or look different in this way. And as time goes on and you see more and more examples of people who change their appearance, like shout Frank the Tank from Barstool. It's like, incredible. What'd you do? Well, I was just really disciplined and consistent. I walked for 900 days straight or whatever Frank's day is up to at this point. And I cut back on what I was eating and eliminated certain things. It's simple, but people don't want simple, right? Because simple takes a long time. Yeah. Simple takes an extended period of time. And I think we've all done it where we've had some body transformations and you realize like, it's just because I just did something for an extended period of time. I didn't do it for 3 days. Like nothing's going to happen after 3 days. So I don't know how we got into GLP-1, but anyway. And then,
I would love to hear Ryan's take on it too.
Yeah. And it's just, I am adverse to taking
the long-term effects of it are concerning, and it's like it's scary shit, dude. Yeah, and it's not cheap stuff, right? Like the drug itself is not. It's very expensive,
I think it's getting cheap. I think it's getting cheaper, but it's still expensive. Number one, I mean, relative, it's still expensive. But now a lot of people are finding ways to get it prescribed so their insurance will cover it.
Okay.
So, listen, again, if that's what you're doing, it's your body, do it. And if you're losing weight and you're feeling good about yourself, I guess more power to you, but not for me, I'll say. Then the other big social media story with celebrities, Rob Schneider, actor, comedian, came out and hand up, I didn't read the full tweet. I just got the gist of it. He was basically saying how, like, if you're of a certain age, you need to sign up and be prepared to be drafted. And he's receiving a significant amount of blowback, rightfully so. Like, Rob, what are you talking about, man? You never served a day in your life in the military. Why are you volunteering other people to serve? Like, obviously, we have we have an all-volunteer force, and we have for decades now. I don't think that's going to change. I don't think we're going to implement a draft. But it's just wild to me that there are celebrities out there that are so vocal about the military, but not in a good way. Like, this is not a good way to be vocal about the military, I think.
Yeah, I think sometimes, and look, he's got such a great resume of films and funny shit and like one-liners and just acting. So he's great in that. And to your point, it's like as these guys get older, same thing with Robert De Niro. It's just like, when you meddle yourself into these like important, discussions and political takes, it kind of diminishes some of the great work you've done in the past.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong, because now people like, yes, obviously Robert De Niro. God, I love so many of his movies and I love his performances.
Yeah.
And you're like, dude, like,
aren't you a grandpa?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, dude, I think he's a father.
Oh yeah.
He became like a father at like 80. Yeah. It's like,
just go hang out.
Seriously. Or go volunteer at NYU. Teach acting classes. Give back. That to me would be more impactful than all this political stuff that Robert De Niro does. Walk over to NYU, man, and just sit in on a couple of classes. Do you know how cool that would be? Let's say you're at NYU and you're pursuing a career in acting, and Robert De Niro walks into class one day.
Yeah.
Sign me up. I'll sit there and listen to him talk for hours. For as long as he's willing to talk, I will sit there. Yeah. It just seems so exhausting to me. And again, this is not about protecting the right or protecting the left. Anybody who makes it their whole personality, like the people who post every day about how great Trump is, the people who post every day about how horrible Trump is, the people who post every day about any other person who's in an elected position. Aren't you exhausted talking about this stuff?
Yeah. And quickly on Rob Schneider too, he put out this massive tweet, and look, I like the guy. I think he's a funny dude, but he went on this like giant essay tangent about the draft and all this stuff. And then Grok, the Twitter AI, community noted after his like long ass tweet, the Grok app went, Rob Schneider has never served in the U.S. military. As like a community note. So for people that say like, you know, Grok and Elon, you know, lean one way politically, like it's just kind of funny how they, you know, kind of threw that in Rob's face. But you know, I mean, look, I also, Connor, like you get it. It's like people, they have too much time on their hands and like they want to just like maximize views and they want to get themselves out there again. And so I feel like sometimes it's performative, and some of these actors who maybe haven't done anything in a while, you know, they're just taking a stance to like get back into like the discussion.
Yeah. Last thing, and then we can move on. I just want to shout out a one-time producer of the Zero Blog 30 podcast, Kyle. And Kyle was a Marine, still is a Marine, excuse me. Once a Marine, always a Marine. Kyle quote tweeted Schneider and he said, "I don't gatekeep much, but I will here. If you've never signed your life over to the government to be used in endless wars, shut the fuck up about the draft. You have zero knowledge about what you're really asking for." That about sums it up. And why I respect Kyle, there's a number of reasons why I respect Kyle, but why I respect that tweet right there, he is not one to really throw his opinion around lightly, so you know when he's saying something.
Yeah.
It has some gumption behind it, so that really resonated with me for him to step up and say that, so I thought that was awesome.
Great tweet. I love it.
Yes. All right, and then the last thing I wanted to chat about today was a little inside baseball, inside Barstool stuff with a pal of mine. Yes, he is a pal, Rico Bosco. Are you following what's going on with Rico Bosco? Are you aware of Rico Bosco? I'm sure some of our listeners know who he is. Others have no idea, but what is your understanding of Rico Bosco?
I've seen his tweets. I've seen his content. I feel like he's blown up in like a good way over the last few years, more so than some other folks. But I've never met the guy. I see his content. I see you guys kind of engaged, but like, educate me.
He is a unique individual. He is a passionate guy. He is a old school guy from Staten Island. Grew up with old school values, and my history specifically with him is that, so Rico's been doing a show at Barstool for a very long time. It's called the Pick'em Show. It's a gambling show he does with Dave and Dan, and for the longest time his actual identity was unknown. They blacked him out because he was working for the FDNY and he didn't want his worlds to get crossed, and I completely understand.
He was a fireman?
That. Yes, he was FDNY, and he had to leave that. But so I had interacted with him. We're going back now, like 2014, even 2015. I don't even remember when it was. He's been here longer than that, but this is when this occurred, and I had interacted with him a little bit online at that point, and I saw him at a Mets game, and I didn't know what he looked like. Because, again, he never put himself out there. He comes up to me and he goes, "Hey, I'm Rico Bosco." And I was like, "Oh, hey, what's up, man?" We talked for like 20 minutes hanging out, and I was with a group of guys on a bachelor party. So I was like, all right, I'm going to go back to my buddies. He felt insulted by that. So from there, he had a vendetta against me. And if you know Rico Bosco, he could take something, and if he perceives it to be a slight, you might now have an enemy for life.
Oh, no.
And to that regard, he's like I said, he's a passionate guy, and he's fiercely loyal. But so for the longest time, he didn't like me, and he would, he'd find interesting ways to insult me and throw jabs at me. And he's actually really funny because he's old school in the sense from old school Staten Island. And like everybody's got like a nickname or a moniker, and he almost talks in he talks in code. And if you're not following the Rico Bosco saga, you might get lost.
Okay.
But so where I come into this is that at one point, I honestly I never had a beef with him. Mm-hmm. It was a one-sided beef, but then I would throw gas on the fire and just stoke him. So, I'd get him riled up just to wind him up and just see what he would do. And he would fly off the handle. And there were streams where I'd get a text from Dan like, hey, what are you doing? Can you come by the stream? And he would flip out and leave. I don't remember why this all occurred, but at one point he had a burner account and he started tweeting things at my wife that were not true. About me that were not true, intended to disrupt my marriage.
Whoa.
Now, like all the stuff between us, that never really got to me, but then that I took offense to because I'm like my wife's not involved in this. Don't.
How did
wifey
handle that? What was the? Was she?
She was pretty. No, she was pretty level-headed about it. She's like, all right, well, this is coming from somewhere, and she didn't take real offense to it.
That's good.
But so then word got back to Dan and to Dave that this had happened, and then very soon thereafter, he left Barstool. He said, "I got another job," and he left Barstool. And this all occurred over like 72 hours. But then he never actually had a contract. So then he comes back to Dave and Dan's like, hey, I need to come back to I want to come back to Barstool. And at that point, Dave and Dan put the ball in my court and they said, listen, we're really sorry about what he did to your wife. He wants to come back. It's on you though. If you say you don't want him back, he won't come back. And you can go back and listen to old Zero Block 30 episode where we really break this down in detail. And prior to talking to Dave and Dan, Rico had called me. We had talked. He apologized. And long story short, like he came back. And a couple of years ago, it was funny. My wife met him. We were at a concert and we happened to be parked next to each other at the tailgate. It was just completely random. And he and my wife, like I put out a picture of them hugging. They talked. I talked to his wife. So it's all like, water under the bridge. It was just part of the whole Rico Bosco saga. Yeah. And what the funny thing to me is, like, the whole time that he was hating me, for lack of a better word, the things he was like, he and I were kind of similar in so many ways. The things he would say, I was like, I agree with that. And the way he grew up or the way he viewed the world, we were similar in so many ways. So that's why it was just funny that he didn't like me for the longest time. Because it was like, dude, you're like looking in a mirror. Like we've shared a lot of similar experiences. We grew up similarly. We enjoy the same things. We make a lot of the same references. So now it's cool because we're like buddies. And when I see him in the office, we talk and we'll text. And, I truly believe at the core of Rico Bosco is a good heart. And I do think he makes some missteps and sometimes his anger has gotten him in trouble. But I do think at the core of it is a good heart. So anyway, with this most recent situation was he made a bet with Dave where if Alabama, because Alabama's his team, if Alabama beat Michigan, he got double his salary and a 10-year contract.
Whoa.
So then I was like, well, I wonder if like retroactively, like, can I say like, hey,
yeah,
I get a part of that. And I was saying that tongue in cheek. I would never actually take any money from Rico. Ultimately, Michigan beat Alabama. So now, conversely, Rico has to do a podcast with another guy named Jeff Nadeau that he doesn't like, and they're forced to do the podcast. And if Rico doesn't do the podcast, he's fired. So
the podcast is happening. Men of Honor.
Yes, Men of Honor is the podcast. It's happening this fall. It's going to be I'm pretty sure college football, NFL. Actually, I actually don't know. I assume because it's not happening until fall that it's going to be football.
So those two gentlemen have to figure out their differences, or is it like?
Yeah, because they got on the stream on Friday, and Rico started laying into him, and
oh shit,
God, it's like. It's funny because, women a lot of times will watch Bravo. I watch the Bravo network. This has all been going on it's like a living, breathing soap opera. And someone once described Barstool as Bravo for guys, and in a lot of ways that is absolutely true. It's like there are all these backstories and little squabbles, and if you were coming off the street, you would have your head spinning trying to keep up with all the storylines, and it is really elaborate. And I think that's part of what makes Barstool so great. And you've seen other networks try to replicate certain things that we do as a company and fail miserably because all of these storylines and the people, you can't duplicate. You can't fake all of these things that happen. You can't manufacture the drama. And it really is fascinating, this ecosystem and this world that Dave has cultivated. And now it's a world that like spins on its own axis because it almost doesn't need the outside world to operate because there's so much drama in the four walls that it produces this reality show that is endlessly fascinating. So that was my half joke this past weekend, that I was expecting an envelope from Rico if he won. They didn't win, so I don't have to worry about it. But now we get the Men of Honor podcast, so we'll see how that goes. So that's my Rico story.
Should we get one of them on?
Rico would come on if we asked him.
Yeah.
And we should probably do that just to chop it up and see all the ways that he and I are alike and have fun.
I would love to see that. I would love to see that. Also, I would love to get Rico or some of the other guys to an Army-Navy or an Army game this year.
That is another thing that we could absolutely try to make happen.
You know?
We've had a lot of people that have gone to Army-Navy over the years, and every one of them loves it. But Chaps in the early year one of Zero Block 30 brought him up to West Point, and we recorded an episode from. We recorded an episode from the parking lot in the tailgate.
Yeah.
But no one beside. I'm Large, my buddy Large. Yep. Not for content, but he's been up to a tailgate and to a game as well.
That could be cool, Cons.
We'll figure it out.
A couple guys, had some fun with Theo and just walked around, showed him the game with the new stadium.
Yeah.
That could be cool.
So anyway, just
good.
There's a lot going on there. But I will say this for Rico, and then we can wrap things up here. For all of the gruff that he catches, now I almost find myself like even more like in his corner. The guy works very hard. I will say he does a lot of work behind the scenes. He, as I said, is very, very loyal. So put it to you this way. He's a guy that you're glad he's on your side and you don't have to go up against. And I will leave it at that. So,
love it.
All right. Any caveats, anything that we missed in all of these topics?
No, man. This is a fun episode. Good to record with you, bro. No, nothing from my end.
Okay. Yeah. Just keeping an eye on what's going on with Iran.
Oh, yeah.
Hopefully that figures itself out. It probably won't.
We'll tweet about it.
Yeah. And then the last thing I'm going to say about the social media thing, and we absolutely all have these people in our lives. You definitely have that person that posts nearly every single day, either pro-Trump or anti-Trump, but every day it's other accounts, it's reposting, it's talking about every day. Reach out. I challenge you. Reach out to one of those friends of yours and say,
"You doing okay?
Are you okay? Do you want to talk?" Because posting about how much you dislike someone every day, it's not good for your own mental well-being. You're constantly being bogged down in this hate, or you're constantly being bogged down by the need to defend someone. And on either side, it has to be so exhausting. So reach out to your pals and say, "Hey, are you okay?" That's all I got. Take care. Make it a great week.